everybody.
Hey guys.
I'm Laurie.
And I'm Gary.
And we are
Laurie and Gary Cruise.
Welcome back to our channel.
Yeah.
Today we are going to talk about the 4.5 worst cruise excursions ever. Now, if you're confused about the half, stick till the end and you'll understand what we are talking about.
You'll get the half.
Also, before we get into the video, I just want to add that I don't remember the exact names of these excursions. Yeah, I remember the gist of them, but when you are looking at the excursion online, and these are all cruise ship excursions, we never go on private excursions ever.
No.
So these are all cruise excursions. This is in the neighborhood of what they were called, but I can't guarantee that we are saying the exact name.
But they were all ship-sponsored excursions.
Right, exactly. And everything we're saying, you could probably look up the same thing in the ballpark of each location, because we do remember each location that these excursions were at. Also, some of these excursions were from many years ago at this point, right. So we don't know if they still exist. Maybe they got loads of bad reviews and they're no longer with us.
Yeah.
Actually, hopefully, fingers crossed, these excursions don't exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, also, if you enjoy content like this, please hit the like and
subscribe button with the notification bell
on.
Give us a thumbs up. It'll really help us out.
Give us a thumbs up. And we are almost at our goal, our first goal of 1,000 subscribers.
We're newbies at this.
Yeah, we're newbies at this, and we are so anxious to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark.
Yeah.
I know our channel says we've been around for 8 years, but really we've only been regularly posting cruise content for about the past year and like
really serious about it for the past year. So
so please support us if you like this kind of content. All right, without further ado, let's get into it, and I'll start with cruise excursion number 1.
Sounds good.
And this cruise excursion was called something similar to kayaking in Manatee Cove. So first of all,
the preemptive word being cove.
So first of all, I just want to say I've always wanted to look at a manatee. I've heard great things about manatees. Manatees seem really cool. Also, I want to say at this point, I had never been kayaking before, so I was excited to try it. This excursion was in Port Canaveral, Florida. Please let us know in the comments if you have ever been on this excursion before, because we would love to hear your opinion.
I thought we were going to be in a boat where we were doing this.
So tell us a little bit about how it went down. So we get in the kayak, and first of all, they never warned us, like, oh, bring flip-flops, your sneakers are going to get soaked.
It really wasn't a kayak, it was a canoe.
It was a kayak.
Canoe-ish.
But you had to full-on step into the water to get in. It wasn't like you stepped in on land and then they pushed you in.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice to have a little warning, like, just so you know, your sneakers will be drenched if you wear them. So maybe you want to wear a different pair of shoes.
Right.
So that was number 1 that we didn't like. But fine, okay, we have wet feet. Who cares?
And we saw the cove, and it looked, okay, this is doable.
I could get into this cove.
They handed us some rows. We were going to do this, you know, and I thought, okay, I thought it was going to be this, but this is fine, because it was a little area. We're going to see some nature. We're going to follow along the guide. It's going to be nice. No, what happened was we went around the cove, and then we went out to ocean. We went out into the ocean.
I just want to take a moment to show them a clip. Watch this clip. Okay, so here's the thing. We're like in the middle. This is a Manatee Cove kayak. Cove. First of all, is this a cove? Like, seriously, like, what is in the back? What's behind me? It's like an abyss. That's not a cove. I can't. I'm on me, baby. Does this shit look like a cove? I don't think it's a fucking cove. Secondly, my arms are about to fall off, and the tour guide could give a crap less. I don't care, babe. Oh, crap. Okay, there's dolphins. And Third, my wrist is on fire, and Gary's back is on fire, and we're tired, and we're like a 5 million hour paddle ride back to the place we came from, and we don't even know how to get there. That's what we think of this. So, next up, also tell them about the guide who's like,
Yeah. And so we're slow, and
we couldn't get our rhythm right. There was no lesson, you
well,
guys.
I look behind me. You know, I'm in the front, and
Listen.
Laurie's in the back, and I look. I can't understand why we're going so slow. I look in the back, and Laurie's not rowing at all.
Listen, there was no guidance. There was no, like, the front person paddles this way, the back person. There was no instruction, no teaching. It said difficult level, that it was like a medium or something, but it said, welcome for beginners, welcome for, like, medium to low activity levels. Well, like, then tell us, if you're saying it's okay for beginners, then can you give us, like, a quick lesson? Like, how
And there was no lessons.
Never rowed before.
So the guide was, I don't know, I would say about 1/8 of a mile in front of us, and most of the kayaks were near him. And he said, he got this little thing off of a tree, and he says, now I want you to look at this. I think it was a little baby bug or a frog or something like that. And he says, everybody take a look at this. Now, there's kayaks all over the place, and this thing is about 1/4 of an inch big. And he's going, ooh, look at this. This is rare. And of course, nobody saw it. And we're going, oh, when is this going to be over? When is it going to be over?
Yeah, it was just not what we had hoped for.
No.
However, I will say, if it had just stayed in the cove, it actually would have been quite nice.
Yeah. It was nice and mellow in the cove. Out in the ocean, there were like 2-foot waves.
Abyss.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to
Number 2.
Number 2, worst excursion.
The Dolphin Excursion. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking.
Before you get into it, I can't remember the exact name. It was an excursion that we booked in St. Martin, but the actual Dolphin Excursion wasn't in St. Martin. It was in a nearby island. I think it was Antilles. If you know what I'm talking about, let us know in the comment box below. Right. But anyway, this excursion was booked for the St. Martin port, but it did not say it was an hour boat ride away. Yeah. So that was the first thing.
And 3 to 5 foot waves. This boat was going crazy, and they said it was going to be a half an hour trip. Well, it ended up being an hour.
Both ways.
And most people were nauseous when we got there, and we couldn't understand why it wasn't canceled because the waves were so horrendous. And Laurie's been on a dolphin excursion before. It was nice and mellow.
And we've been on one since in Grand Cayman. Remember, baby?
Yeah.
The Grand Cayman one was great. I went on one in Nassau, Bahamas. It was phenomenal. Like, that was why I wanted to do this excursion. But anyway, because I know you're going to forget to say this. So it was broken up into 2 groups, the excursion. And the first group, which we were in, had to wait on the beach while the other group swam with the dolphins. So it started raining.
And 3 to 5 foot waves, don't forget.
Yeah. So it started raining. Not bad, like sprinkling. But we have to wait on a beach. Like, oh yeah, enjoy the beach. There was no cover, you guys. 0. Yeah. No cover.
3 to 5 foot waves, raining.
I mean, not bad, sprinkling rain, but still.
Constant.
So we just sat on a beach wet while we waited.
Totally wet.
I did a headstand. I'm going to post that behind us.
When we were finally called, we were standing next to a fence, and the 3 to 5 foot waves were pounding us against these fence. Every time a wave came, just hurling us against this.
When we were finally called, we went into the Dolphin patent. It was this big enclosure, and this was like groups of 20. So the excursion in Grand Cayman was maybe 10 people tops.
Yeah.
This was a group of 20, including a child. And one of the biggest things was the water, if you stood on the ground, was like up to here. Yeah. So you had to float. And, we're over 5 feet. This poor child, had all the floaty devices on.
Yeah.
But that's very nerve-wracking. And then, again, so you could not have your feet on the ground. And you were next to a hard gate with sharp edges. Everybody was getting injured on this gate. And then I have to say this part too because I remember this because I really wanted to swim with the dolphins. But if you've ever done a dolphin swim, you know they say, oh, be careful of the blowhole. Be careful to touch this part of the dolphin. Be careful to... Well, I would go to the dolphin, but like a huge wave would like knock me forward. I'm like, am I going to like smother this poor dolphin? Am I going to like cover the blowhole by accident because of the waves? It was just very scary, very nerve-wracking. The dolphins were cute, though.
The only fun time I had was when I was called to swim with the dolphins. I grabbed the hold of the dorsal fin, like they said, and the dolphin swam. It was so much fun. But that was about 20 seconds of how many hours?
Oh yeah, it was like with the ride to and from the island.
Which was an hour.
It was probably like a 5-hour excursion.
And I had about 20 seconds of fun time.
So we're not saying don't get dolphin excursions because dolphin excursions can be an amazing, magical experience. We're saying don't get this one in St. Martin. And I'm gonna try and look it up and I'll write it down here which one I think it was. But just be mindful because that was not good. Okay. Number 3 was a scenic bus tour in Cartagena, Colombia, with short stops where we were supposedly able to get out and see different scenic sites. Now, I wish I could remember the exact name of this tour because I know there's a couple different bus tours in Cartagena, and I don't want to give any of one that might be better than this one a bad rep.
Right.
But this one sucked.
So the first stop in Cartagena was a mixed bag of just a hullabaloo and confusion. I got off the bus. And
we were at some sort of fort.
Yeah.
But it was surrounded by vendors.
Oh my God, hundreds of vendors.
And I said this in the video, but the vendors in Cartagena are extremely aggressive, like very aggressive.
To the point of being rude.
So
I stepped off the bus, and the guy put a hat on me, and I went, this is a nice hat, thank you very much. I start to walk off, and he goes, hey, money. I went, oh, you want money? No.
It wasn't like a nice new hat. It was like a plastic hat or something that he thought, oh, maybe this is included in the excursion. Because the guy literally just put it on him as soon as he walked off of the bus, like not even a foot, like he was on the bus still, and someone put a hat on him.
Yeah. So I had one more step to go. Got to put a hat on me.
So he thought maybe this is part of the excursion, and then the guy started chasing him down for money. And it's like, oh, I didn't know. And then the first stop, we were at this fort, but there was no time to go in the fort because the fort was like a big museum on top of a hill. But around the fort was just, it was vendors and dirty buildings.
Really dirty.
And the bus driver was like, okay, you're here for half an hour and then we'll meet at the bus.
And our guide, we lost our guide several times. He didn't have a pole with a flag on it. He just took off. And I lost Laurie a couple of times. And I'm looking around, where the heck is my wife? It was just so many people there. It was like Times Square, only in Cartagena, Colombia.
Yeah. And
so many people.
Also, this was like a 5-hour excursion.
Yeah.
And there was no food offered. And
no food.
I guess technically we could have run to get food, but not really because when we
had to stick with the guide.
Yeah, and he didn't stop for food.
He didn't stop.
And he wasn't even wearing a shirt, so we didn't want to lose him. So we were afraid to stop for food or coffee, and it was also like a very early call time, so we were both exhausted. We're huge coffee drinkers. And Colombia, like, give me some freaking coffee. And then it ended with this big, like, hour-long performance of flamenco dancers and stuff, which might have been more enjoyable if we weren't hangry.
Yeah,
and
we were hungry.
Exhausted.
We were going on 5 hours with no food.
And we just wanted to go home, and it was not a good
And the only drink we had was water that she had brought along. Other than that, there was no place to just...
It was not a good excursion.
It was awful.
It was awful.
Just awful.
It was awful.
Don't go there.
If you do go to Colombia, I do recommend, if you don't want to pay extra for an excursion, the actual port in Cartagena is gorgeous.
If you've been to Cartagena and you've liked it, let us know in the comments. We'd like to hear about it.
Yeah.
Or if you've had similar experiences to us in Cartagena, let us know about that as well. But for us,
no.
We didn't like it.
All right, baby, number 4.
Number 4, Jewel Cave.
Oh.
Jewel Cave.
Our honeymoon. So
It was a beautiful cave.
So Jewel Cave is in Bermuda.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, especially, we were there in May. It was our honeymoon cruise. We were there in May, and it's always on the excursion list. You'll always see it.
Yeah.
But it's very crowded.
It was so crowded.
And especially if you go during the season, there was lots of kids. And then, in particular, there was a screaming
There was this one kid
baby
who screamed nonstop the entire time we were in the cave. I mean, wow. We couldn't hear the guy.
And in general, you know we don't like screaming children. Try a screaming child in an enclosed cave.
Oh, it was so it was so loud. It was like it echoed.
And in general, even though the cave is kind of cool, it's just too crowded. You can't really explore. You wait in line to go down. You take one step. It's like waiting in line at a Disney ride without a fast pass, okay? It's just like one step, wait a year. One step, wait a year. In a big crowd of people. Do not recommend. All right, so let's talk about our half.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah, we had...
Let me get into it.
Okay.
So this was in the Dominican Republic. It was the Amber Cove stop, and it was a monkey excursion. What could be better than a monkey excursion?
We were looking so forward to that. Yeah.
You guys, the monkey part of the excursion was phenomenal. And this is why I can't give this excursion as a whole a bad rating. But after we got to pet and love
they were hopping on top of us. They were handing out food on our laps and everything. So then they let the monkeys go crazy, and they were on our laps. They were on our shoulders. They were on our heads. They would not let you touch them, though. You could get like an inch away, and they'd hop off.
Yeah,
but
not
anyway,
the guy.
It was so cool.
Not the guides wouldn't let you touch them. Like the monkeys would.
Wouldn't let you touch
them. Be like, I came, I ate, bye.
Yeah, right. So that was so much fun.
It was so much fun. They were so cute. Like, regret nothing about the monkeys. But then
they took us on a tour of this house, and they were pointing things out like, well, this is a painting, and this is a hot plate, and this is the chair where the patriarch sat.
So it was just
and
basically
it was
like an old, small Dominican Republic hut.
Yeah, it was a typical Dominican Republic
from
hut,
like
where people
the 1800s or
right.
something.
Yeah, yes, from the 1800s.
And it was boring, and we weren't just like in and out. We're like in this enclosed hut with no air conditioning for about a half hour, 45 minutes. Then they brought us into folding chairs, seated, because they're getting ready to do...
There was row after row after row after row, because there was a lot of us.
So then we sat there and waited.
And there was this girl churning out some coffee, and we thought,
we're like, coffee,
we're
finally.
gonna have some coffee.
Because again, this is another excursion that we had to wake up for at 6 a.m. We maybe only had one cup of coffee on the cruise before we left, and we're like ready. We're hungry.
Yeah.
We want coffee.
We're ready for our mug of coffee.
Coffee.
And refills.
And then, but first, there's this long lecture about the history of the Dominican Republic, and I'm like, coffee.
And how they make the coffee, and how they grow it, and how they grind it, and blah, blah, blah.
Coffee.
And I'm thinking coffee. Bring us some coffee. Bring us some coffee.
So then they do.
In these little teeny cups that were like an inch tall and about an inch wide, and we're thinking, this is the coffee we're going to get? So I chugged that, and this guy sitting next to me wasn't drinking his.
Total stranger.
Are you going to drink yours? He said, no. I said, can I have it? He said, yeah, sure. That one. I kept asking people around, you going to drink yours? Yes, I'm going to drink. Are you going to drink? Yes. Are you going to drink? No. Good. Can I have that?
We were desperate. And then after that, on the way back to the ship, the van driver stopped at like an arts and crafts store for like almost
I forgot about that.
Yeah, like 45 minutes to try and get us to purchase arts and crafts, but we were like,
because he had a deal with the arts and crafts store.
Yeah.
So,
and we were like, dude, we just wanted to pet some monkeys.
Yeah.
Like,
can we just get back to the ship?
Yeah, it's called Monkeys. Okay, it's called Monkeys.
It's called Monkeys. It's not called arts and crafts store. It's not called coffee. It's not called look through an 18th century house. It's called monkeys.
And if you're gonna have coffee, you better damn well have a venti-sized cup next to you.
Yeah,
for
you
us.
better darn well have a venti-sized cup next to you.
Well, anyway, so that's our half. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, we're reminding you to please hit the
Like and subscribe button with the
notification bell on.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up too. It'll really help us out. We really appreciate it. It would help us out.
Come on, guys, almost 1,000.
Okay.
Come, hook a couple up.
All right.
All right. Anyway, that's all we got for you today. Again, I'm Laurie.
I'm Gary.
And we want you to
Live your best cruise life. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.